See, when you hear that music, it just gets you all fired up. Welcome to another episode of Depot's Den. I am your host, as always, Evan DiPasquale. And years ago, I've heard this song. It's a NFL films music, and I just love it because it's a very fire up type of song. But anyways, welcome into this episode of Depot's Den. I am your host, as always, Evan DiPasquale, and as you see on the title of this episode, if you are watching, whether you're watching it on YouTube or on Facebook Live, or if you are listening back to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can't win them all. That's basically what I put it as, is you can't win them all. The Bills suffer their first loss of the 2024 campaign. And yes, it was a very, very rough game. If anybody stayed up to watch it, I know that we've been kind of getting a little accustomed to night games because we had the Thursday night game, then the Monday night game, and now a Sunday night game. And this time the Bills kind of met their match with the Baltimore Ravens. Like I said, you can't win them all. Really, in all honesty, this game basically was, I don't want to say over, but it was pretty close to over on the first offensive play for Baltimore. An 87-yard touchdown run by Derrick Henry. If anybody had him in fantasy like I did, you got a good day out of him, because boy, did he play incredible. Over almost 200 yards rushing, 2 total touchdowns, 1 receiving, and obviously the one on the ground that opened up the game for Baltimore. It was definitely, if you were a Bills fan or even a football fan in general, that was definitely a tough game to watch. Now, if you're a Baltimore Ravens fan, you were absolutely ecstatic because you just basically exposed the Bills and Josh Allen. I think that it was a tough one for the Bills, but also I think it was a wake-up call. These aren't going to be these blowouts like you've seen. Now, let's also remember that this is the first time in 2 years, I'd say, that it's the first time the Bills have lost a game by more than 1 score. Sean McDermott and the Bills defense have been really incredible with making sure that they do not lose badly. And a few times they have lost badly, but so far we haven't seen it so far. The Bills had a rough game. Let's just put it at that. It was obvious. Everybody knew it. It was a tough game. They sucked. Am I wrong? If anybody's going to tell me, oh, the Bills were great. No, they weren't. Josh Allen, for the first time since the 2022 season, where they lost 9-6 to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Urban Meyer game, the one where we just tried to throw that out, crumble it up, and throw it out. That was the first time since that game that Josh Allen finished a Bills game without a passing or rushing touchdown. It was definitely a absolute, just a stinker. It just was. And the Ravens kind of exposed what was wrong with the Bills defense. They were down their 2 starting linebackers, and they ran the ball, and they ran the ball a lot. And I'm not going to say this is like a chink in the armor and you found the blueprint to figure out the Bills defense. No, I don't think that that's what really happened. I think that if we look at it, it was just a bad game. You didn't have your two best players on defense at all during the game, and now you're going to be out with Von Miller for the next game. We'll get into that once we go around the NFL, around the league from week 4. But It was just it was a bad situation. Derrick Henry averaging 8 yards a carry with and kind of that's a little bit inflated due to the fact that he did have an 87-yard touchdown run. Lamar Jackson averaged 9 yards a carry, so just the rushing attack killed the Bills, really. I think that that's what really happened was just it was just a rough game for the Bills. You can't sugarcoat it, I guess. The Bills got their butts whooped, and that's just that's just I'm putting it blunt out there. The Bills got their butts whooped, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes they will they will do what the Ravens did to them. They will, kick you know what. I'm trying to keep this clean. If you can't tell, I want to make sure that I'm not really getting anybody in trouble or getting myself in trouble. Um, I see a comment on the Facebook Live from Joey, and he says, "We don't have a dominant receiver. Everybody's talking about Adams. He's now coming to Buffalo. Coming to Buffalo. Yeah, probably. I mean, the Bills are one of the favorites, but here's the to get Devontae Adams. But here's the thing: when it comes to Devontae Adams, is that he, I have a feeling he's going to try to get his way to either New York, where he could play with Aaron Rodgers, or he's going to try and get himself to New Orleans and play with his old college teammate for a couple of years, Derek Carr. I'll get into Devontae Adams in a little bit, but really, even with the Bills' defense playing like garbage on Sunday, the offense didn't really do much as well. Like I said, it was the first time the Bills had been beaten by more than one score since I think it was since 2021 when they got blown out by the the Indianapolis Colts, and that was the what we call the uh that's what we call the Jonathan Taylor. Jeez, I couldn't believe I forgot Jonathan Taylor. The Jonathan Taylor game, which was really a travesty, where the Bills just got like what happened on Sunday. They got ran all over, and their quarterback did some small things, and they won the game. That's really what it comes down to, is that they just outplayed them, and they beat them pretty handedly. Um, it was I think if you're a Bills fan, if you look at that game, just scrap it and throw it out. I think that what you need to do is just like Bill Belichick. We're on to Cincinnati. We're on to Houston, and I'll get into Houston in just a little bit. But first, I want to go around the NFL. Um, let's just look at it from this standpoint. The Vikings right now are the best team in the NFL. No joking. The Vikings are the best team in football. They laid the hammer down on the Green Bay Packers. Again, we're starting to see Sam Darnold really revitalize his career with the Vikings, and really, if you look at it, the Vikings have shown that they are a good team. And as a Bills fan, it kind of stinks because you want their second round pick to be bad, and you're seeing the Minnesota Vikings put up 31 points on the Green Bay Packers. Now, they almost did lose the game. They were up 30, like probably I think around 31-7, but they stay undefeated. They avoid the Packers coming back. They ended up winning 31-29. So right now the Packers look like the best team in football. Sam Darnold has really saved his career. He went 20 of 28 for 275 and 3 touchdowns. Also had a pick. Justin Jefferson. I think the fact that he's got Justin Jefferson on his team, having the best wide receiver in the NFL, is really a big reason why we're seeing so much success from Sam Darnold, really, and that's a known fact. Um, Also, just wanted to get back to this Bills game. if anybody is going to say this, I'm going to get really mad about this one. If anybody is going to come out and say that what the Bills did, they are frauds, I think that those people who are saying the Bills are frauds just stop. I don't want to say you should stop watching the Bills, but the fact that you say that the Bills are frauds after a loss that they haven't had in almost 3 seasons just absolutely just confuses me. Why would you say that the Bills are frauds when they clearly have been really good and just watching just so many great talents, seeing Josh Allen. Yes, I know it's a year in transition, but also let's remember you were down Terrell Bernard, you were down Taron Johnson, and you were down Matt Milano on defense. Those are your 3 best players on defense. And if you are going to come out and say that the Bills are frauds and they're going to get exposed, then you just don't know football. You're just not watching this team enough to know what's happening. I've been watching this team basically for years, and especially working with the radio broadcast and hearing from people who talked during about the game, it was just a game that you just throw away. People who are saying that the Bills are frauds, it's not like they lost to an 0-4 team. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson, who is the reigning MVP. Slow down, people. Let's reel it back. We're going to be fine. The Bills are going to be fine. They're going to end up probably getting back on track, and they're going to be okay. For people to say that the Bills are frauds after what happened on Sunday, they need to stop talking about the Bills because they obviously don't know. And I'm not trying to sound like a homer. I might sound like a homer, but the Bills and frauds are ridiculous, especially with Josh Allen. You are not frauds. That's basically what I'm getting at. Back to around the NFL. The Jets and the Giants, oh boy, woof, they are just if you're going to call a team frauds, you could say the New York Jets are pretty frauds. The Jets and the Giants, for the first time since both of them have played like in the stadium, that goes back to Giant Stadium and obviously MetLife Stadium, where they both shared the same stadium. This is the first time since really they've been playing together, and when you play each other, they played at home on the same week. This is the first time that they went a full week and neither of them scored a touchdown. If you want to call a team frauds, it's the New York Jets. That's really what it looks right now, is that the Jets just don't look good at all right now. Jaden Daniels has looked outstanding, and he might lead the Commanders to an NFC East title. I really believe that Jaden Daniels is a really, really good quarterback, and I think that we're starting to see. I think he could win Rookie of the Year. He might have to go up against Malik Neighbors, but I think, in all honesty, if we look at it, I think that the Commanders are looking better, and that statement win they had against the Bengals last week was proof that, and I think that that's what we're right now starting to see from the Washington Commanders. The Chiefs lose another receiver as Rashee Rice is probably out for the year. Andy Reid, when he was talking on the sidelines, he said it didn't look good. And when you say that about someone who is getting evaluated, that might end up costing them their season. In all honesty, it could. Um, I think that could be a problem. And now the Chiefs are going to have to look at who are we going to, start getting the ball to, because Travis Kelce almost kind of looks washed. I'm never going to say Travis Kelce is washed because I have not really seen it. This year, he's gotten off to a slow start. But really, if you look at it, uh, Travis Kelce and the Chiefs, I think they'll be okay. They'll get some bumps in the road. They won't go undefeated, but it's gonna be an interesting battle. But the Dolphins are going nowhere. The Dolphins, without Tua Tagovailoa, I just think that they're a bottom tier league. They don't have a quarterback, and you're paying these big time receivers all this money, and they're not getting open because they don't have really the quarterback. Snoop Huntley went in the game, and what did he have, like not even 100 yards passing? This Dolphins team, I actually picked the Dolphins to win this game over the Titans. Yeah. Tyler Huntley went 14 to 22 for 96 yards. That is not good, and the Dolphins are in serious trouble. And I think this could be another year where we see the Bills winning the AFC East because the other teams are not as good. We're starting to see it, and it's unfortunate for the Dolphins because Tua got hurt, but the Jets don't look good. Aaron Rodgers kind of is showing his age. He looks slow, and that's really what it comes down to. Um, just looking at my the Facebook live post from Steve Monaco. How are you? He says, I like the team this year. The crooks are the ones looking for the seat license. I don't think that this is a fraud team this year. I don't think that this is a fraud team. This team is gonna get you your wins because you have Josh Allen at quarterback. That's really what it's gonna come down to. But again, another team, the Eagles. Nick Sirianni might get fired before the season ends, and I don't think he's a really that good of a coach. All right, now on to the game plan against the Houston Texans. This is going to be a big one. I think that this is the Stephon Diggs game. I feel like a lot more people want the Bills to win this game, more so because of validation of we don't need Stephon Diggs anymore, blah, blah, blah. But this is going to be a tough matchup. I think you're facing a different type of offense. The Ravens were definitely a more run-heavy kind of offense, and now you're going to be going up against a team that's got Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stephon Diggs, teams that like to throw the ball. But the Bills have done a really good job of shutting down big-time wide receivers. Look at Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill is an example. We'll see. Could the Bills possibly get Terrell Bernard and Taron Johnson back? Or possibly. They're both limited in practice. The injury report did not look good for the Bills. Obviously, Bernard and Taron Johnson were limited, but Khalil Shakir did not practice. Deion Dawkins did not practice, and Taylor Rapp right now is in the concussion protocol. So those are three key starters that are playing right now that are currently not practicing. And also, you've lost Von Miller. Von Miller is now he's being suspended for 4 games. There was no clear evidence, like clear reason why, but most of us believe that from his the incident where he assaulted his pregnant girlfriend and what there was a warrant out for his arrest, and that's probably why he ended up getting this 4-game suspension. I think that it's probably warranted because obviously assaulting a pregnant woman, and that's not a good look for him. But there'll be 4 games. Luckily, it's not. It's a 4-game stretch that I think the Bills could get through without him. So he will not be able to. The 4 games that he's going to miss are obviously the Houston game, the Jets game, the Seattle game, and one other game I am drawing a blank on in week 7. They'll be going up against the Titans. Those are not bad games to lose Von Miller, in all honesty. And this is when teams and players need to step up is really what we need to see. We need to see guys stepping up without Von Miller and without, possibly 3 key players on offense and 1 key player on defense. I think the loss of Taylor Rapp is big, but you also have Mike Edwards and you also have Cole Bishop. So Taylor Rapp, yes, while a big loss, could possibly be it might not be as big of a loss as people might think. Allen needs to get more confidence with Keon Coleman. I think we're seeing that in the Ravens game. He dropped a ball, which was a ball that he has to catch, and he then comes back and then goes back to him again. And I think that we're seeing some confidence with Keon Coleman, and I think that that's really important for the Bills. And Curtis Samuel, they need to get Curtis Samuel more involved. This is basically kind of one of your highest paid receivers, and we have not seen much from him. And I think that they need to figure out how to get Curtis Samuel the ball in this game. People are going to get mad at me, but I still have the Houston Texans winning this game. I don't want to sound like a homer and say that the Bills are going to win. This is going to be a tough one, and I think that the injuries to the Bills, especially on offense, if Dawkins and Shakir cannot play, I think they'll be fine. I think they will play, but they might not be 100%. It's going to be a challenge, and I think that Houston is a great team, and I think that they're going to win. All right. Now, let's get to my favorite part of the podcast. We're going to pick all the games for this week. I went 8-8 last week. I haven't really gotten a winning record so far, like a dominant winning record. But let's start off with Thursday Night Football. Yeah, the Falcons have looked pretty solid with Kirk Cousins, and they had a big win against the Saints. But the Buccaneers, I still think, are the best team in the NFC South. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Atlanta Falcons. Like I said, I have the Houston Texans beating the Bills probably by 3 points or 7 or less. It's going to be a one-score game. The Bills do not, outside of last week, the Bills do not lose, lose badly. They don't lose big. I have the Minnesota Vikings over the New York Jets. I think that we are going to see Sam Darnold revenge game. That's what we're going to see. And the Jets are going to go to 5-0, and I'm still picking them right now as the best team in the NFL. The Bears and the Panthers. This one's a stinker. My colleague Derek Kramer would always say this is probably the booty cheek of the week. This might be the booty cheek of the week. I'm going to pick the Bears over the Panthers because I think that I still feel like that there's potential with Caleb Williams, and I think that that's what's going to end up happening is that the Bears are going to beat the Carolina Panthers. Ravens and Bengals. This is a good one. I think that, we saw a little bit of a bounce back from the Cincinnati Bengals last week with their win. But the Ravens right now are the best team in the AFC right now. I'm going to pick the Ravens over the Bengals. This could be a tough one. If you're looking for like a survivor pool and you're like, oh, should I pick this game? I wouldn't, because I think that this could go either way. The Dolphins and the Patriots. This probably is the worst game of the week. This is just, I feel bad for people who have to watch this game because the Dolphins are garbage right now and the Patriots are just as bad. And just looking at skill position, I'm going to pick the Miami Dolphins to win this game. I'd say pretty convincingly. I have the Washington Commanders beating the Cleveland Browns. The Commanders are looking like the best team in the NFC East, and Jaden Daniels has looked really good. I'm going to take the Commanders in this game. The Jaguars and the Colts. Joe Flacco might start, and that could influence my pick, but I think that because the Jaguars are playing at home, they've always done pretty well against the Colts at home. I'm going to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars to get their first win of the season over the Indianapolis Colts. Raiders and Broncos. We've been hearing about the trade rumors with Devontae Adams, and I would love the Bills to get him, but I just think that the Bills might get priced out for it. But I think that the Raiders are going to beat the Broncos. The Broncos have not really impressed me at all. They only put up 10 points. Still not impressed at all. I'm going to take the Raiders in this game. The Cardinals and the 49ers. I wanted to believe in the Cardinals so badly. They had that really good game in week 2. I was like, okay, the Cardinals might be a good team, and they have lost their last 2 games. I'm going to take the 49ers in this game. The 49ers are one of the best teams in the NFL. I'm not going to pick against them. Go with the 49ers in this one. Rams and Packers. I think that the Packers now with Jordan Love back, I think he needs to focus on making sure he cuts down the turnovers. I'm going to go with the Packers in this game to beat the LA Rams. The Seahawks and the Giants. The Giants have not looked good to me at all this season, really, outside of that game over the Commanders. So I'm going to go with the Seahawks in this game. Cowboys and Steelers. The Steelers, I trusted them once. Last week, I picked them, and they lost. Of course, it's just typical Steelers that they're going to end up, I'm going to pick them, and then they end up losing. I'm going to pick the Dallas Cowboys in this game. I think that they are the better team, and I just still do not have any confidence in the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then on Monday Night Football, Chiefs and the Saints. This one was a tough one. I think that the Chiefs have found different ways to win, and I will still pick the Chiefs to win this game. And they will go to 5-0. But the Saints are a pretty scrappy team. I wouldn't be surprised if they make this a close game or even win this game. All right, so those are my picks. I got the Bucks, the Texans, the Vikings, the Bears, the Ravens, the Dolphins, Commanders, the Jaguars, the Raiders, the 49ers, the Packers, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs. Those are my picks. But you're probably thinking, oh, well, after he does his picks, he's done. But no, I'm actually not. I am not done with my show just yet. I am going to talk a little bit of Sabres. The Sabre season is starting. Their first game, they are right now in Prague in Czechia, or the Czech Republic, as some people might know it. And they are taking on the New Jersey Devils for 2 games before they return home on next Thursday for the home opener against the Los Angeles Kings. I think that the Sabres only lost 1 game in the preseason. Now, yes, it's preseason. Take the preseason pledge. JJ Peterka has looked great, and I think that he is probably going to be the guy who leads the Sabres in goals this season. That's who I'm going to pick to lead the Sabres in goals. You've got Dahlin named captain. He's going to bring the leadership that probably the Sabres really want to have. I think Lindy Ruff is going to get this team ready. I could see the team that is fighting for a wild card spot. We'll see, and we'll find out. And for their first 2 games, I think that they might split it. I might take a win and an overtime loss for the Buffalo Sabres in their first 2 games in Prague. And I can't tell you how excited I am for the Buffalo Sabres season, because October is the best time of year. We got MLB playoffs going on. The Yankees are going to be playing. That's my team. I'm excited. They're going to be taking on the Kansas City Royals, who just swept the Baltimore Orioles, and it's going to be a fun matchup. So I'm excited. So that's going to do it for this episode of Depot's Den. I want to thank everybody who listened in on the Facebook Live. If you do miss it, it will be up on Facebook Live. You'll be able to see it there. At Evan DePasquale is my name. I will put this on Twitter at Evan Depot2 right down here. That's my Twitter handle if you want to follow me there. If you have a comment that you want me to ask for my next podcast, or what your thoughts are on the Bills season so far. So thanks everybody for listening to Depot's Den. We will see you next time. I bid you, as my buddy Jack Cruiser says, I bid